Hey there, welcome. I'm Amrita from Artria Jewelry. Now we're going to do a forged heart pendant. Tools you will need: a rubber mallet, and you don't have to buy a spendy one online, but I'll link an Amazon one for you. You could also just go head over to your Dollar Tree and get one of these as well. A jeweler's hammer or a small ball peen hammer. This is to texture and work harden the metal. A steel bench block. I'll have this link down below as well. And then my trusted pliers, so the 6-step looping pliers, my bent nose pliers, needle nose pliers, a pair of flush cutters. You'll also need a metal file. Lastly, a ruler. Materials you will need: 12 gauge copper wire for the pendant, I'm using 12 gauge copper wire, and this is a really thick copper wire. You can do the same thing with a lower gauge, but if you're looking at hammering the copper wire, the 14 gauge or a 12 gauge is a really good thickness. We're going to need 4 inches of this 12 gauge copper wire. So I'm going to take that. When you're cutting such thick copper wire, make sure you don't use your fine flush cutters. You can use an older pair or use the pair all the way to the bottom of the joint. Don't use the tip because you can snap the tip of your pliers. And that happens to the best of us. I've snapped a tip here, as you can see. So I keep this pair to cut the thicker wires and not use this for any tips. So here's where I hold it all the way back and then flush cut it. I still want a flush cut, I just don't want to use my fine new pair of flush cutters. We're going to find the midpoint of this heart, and that's 4 inches, so about that 2-inch mark. And we are going to fold that down. And if you find you can't squeeze this, because this is pretty tough, you could use your bench block and you could use the rubber mallet and hammer that down. And that will make it easier to then squeeze that last bit together. And then, like we did with the ring, I'm going to pull these 2 wires apart and shape it around the mandrel at the biggest step. This is the 6-step looping plier. There, the heart's taking shape. Okay. So that's the basic shape of our heart. And this is now where we're going to texture this metal and forge this beautiful heart pendant. So I'm going to use my ball peen hammer to texture it. And because this is thicker wire, I am using a little more force, but most of the weight of the hammer is doing the job. And make sure when you're hammering, you're not holding it all the way close there. One, you protect your fingers if you hold it all the way at the back, but also then it's less pressure on your wrist, your fingers, and your shoulder when you're hammering holding it there. You get more leverage than if you're holding it up close. I'm going to hammer one side all the way down. And then the other side of the heart. Watch your finger. And I'm hammering the top a little flatter because I like to have that accent on the top. And then if you find your heart has now formed more of a W, you will hold that again and push the wire down. Now for the finish at the bottom, I'm going to flatten the ends first, and then we're going to use a steel file to file that edge down. See how that's flattening out? We're going to do the same thing here. And now I'm going to file that smooth. So this side's done. We're going to do that here as well. And now I'm just going to cross those wires over to close out the pendant. And you can cross them over to make it crisscross all the way like that, which I think looks very cute. Or you can overlap it where you don't see it cross that much. You could use different types of cords, or you could use a jump ring and pass a chain through it. So I'm just going to take this leather cord and hook it on one side of that. And there we have a beautiful forged heart pendant. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day.